Good morning, all. Excuse me. Good morning, wherever you are. It's afternoon here in the UK. It's about 25 past 2. I'm a few minutes early, 5 minutes early. I've been sat at my computer, so I thought there was a few waiting, so I thought I'd get things moving. We got, as you can see, down the bottom of right down the bottom of my screen there, we got some snow expected in Shrewsbury, where I live. We love snow in our house. Got a 14-year-old daughter who keeps looking out the window every 5 minutes. So, day 6 now on this 50k evaluation, and we're up to about $57 shy of $2,000, so we're about 2/3 of the way there. Morning, how you doing? You'll notice I got about an extra $100 more than I had yesterday. When I came back to my chart just to mark it up to post it, I saw quite a nice short actually with a small risk, so I took it and it popped down. Morning, Kim. I took it and it popped down a little bit and then went a bit sideways, so I took it out for $100, so it's extra $100 for free. Morning, Keith. Snow overnight. You're Aberdeen, are you? Oh, finally we're getting more. Aberdeen, of course, yeah. I think you get snow in June up there, don't you? So you know the Fife guy, do you? He comes on here now and again, and I watch his chart later on. He tends to stream a bit later than me sometimes. He works for a living. I tend to do the weekends and Friday and that. So Aberdeen. Hopefully I'm going up to Scotland to do the is it the North Coast 500 in the summer, I think, next year. I'm a big single malt fan, so I think we're going to work our way around and pop to some of the distilleries as well. Yeah, I used to work with Fife. Oh, did you? So is that how you? Did you sort of? Is that how you both ended up doing this? Because you know each other? Because you're lucky, actually. It's quite hard to find someone else, especially over in the UK. It's quite hard to find someone else who does it. You know, who you can hook up with. I think there's you two. Then I think was it Jane? I think Jane is in Bromsgrove. There's another guy. What's his name? Jimmy. I think he's originally from Ireland. He's down in Kent. And there's another guy I chat to. He's not on a stream anywhere. I've not seen him. He's down in London. Yeah, I'm a big single malt fan. I like me whiskies, single malt whiskies. So we're going to take some trips around some distilleries and test some of the products. So hey, Chris, morning. So yeah, there's quite a few people showing the faces now from the UK. So that's quite nice to know, because when it comes down to things like payments and withdrawals and all that sort of stuff, it tends to affect us in the UK a little bit different from you guys in the States. But the good thing is now they've done this sort of collaboration with Deal. It's making things easier, because I've got a Revolut account which you can sign up for. It's just like an online bank account really, and it enables you to do currency transfers free of charge. So, which is useful, because obviously, you know, you're missing there'll be a middleman which will be charging you a fee. So it's quite useful to have these sort of, you know, these online banks which are popping up, because you get a lot of better deals that you don't get in, you know, the regular banks in the UK. So it's getting better for us. Yeah, we started Pat same time 2 years ago. Brilliant, excellent. It's always nice to have a pal to do it with, isn't it? I suggest you two, if you do it full time, is hook up together and trade together. I think it's much nicer to trade with someone. It's helping me just chatting with you guys, because obviously you guys are watching me and I don't want to make a complete tit of myself. So it's making me make better choices. So I think if you are a little bit if you do trade with someone, it makes you a little bit more accountable. So that's, you know, a possible thing for you two in the future. I may even come up and join you actually. So yeah. See, I obviously trade from home, which I think most people do. The trouble is, I got a 14-year-old daughter who keeps sending me messages. Dad, can you cut some bread? Dad, can I switch to eating on? Dad, can I do this? So, but she's a little bit older now, so I don't think it's caused me so much of a problem. But if you've got young kids around, it can be a bit, tricky trying to concentrate. Morning, Jane. Just talking about you. Someone else from the UK. Jane's from, I think, Bromsgrove, you said, wasn't it? Called you Brom and I might have insulted you. So yeah, so we got Jane from the UK. Keith, who's here, he's up from Aberdeen. And what is Fife's name? Does he give out his name? I don't know. I don't know what his name is. And he's from Scotland as well. So there's probably more people from the UK here, I think, which is unusual. Kim, you're from Norway, if I remember rightly, aren't you? I think you're US. Jane, Edgbaston. Yeah, Edgbaston. I've been there many times to watch the cricket. It's actually one of the nicest cricket grounds in the country. I do love it. Nice and simple. Get the train, stay there, get off the train, 100 yards walk, jump on a bus, takes you straight to the ground. So I do like Edgbaston. It's nice and easy to get to. So who else we got here? So we got Kim, we got Keith, we got Chris, and we got Jane. Brilliant, excellent. Anybody else? You can put a comment if you like. Tell us who you are, where you're from. Nice to get to know people, because we're all here. We've all got the same goal. We're all trying to make a better living for ourselves. Okay. Correct, in Norway. Excellent. We're expecting snow here. You probably got it 10 months of the year, haven't you, I think? If you look on the bottom of my chart, it's changed actually. It's saying mostly cloudy. It did say there was a little snowflake there earlier on. Excuse me, I'm still full of this cold, so I'm coughing and sniffing every minute. Market's opened 30 seconds ago. So we've had these two pushes up, push up, a little bit of sideways, push up. I think that was near on a measured leg, I think. G'day. G'day. G'day from Luca. Luca's from Italy. Rome, I think you are, aren't you? Okay. I like the look of this. I do like the look of that. It's just a little bit sideways. That's the bit that... that's exactly, as you know by now, where I love taking the trades right tight to that EMA, and that would have made a nice... Yeah. The only thing that put me off that is it was a little bit like that, although it did touch lovely and finish it. Well, obviously somebody liked it. Yeah, that was, let's have a look. New high, trying to go out once, trying to go out twice. Yeah, that's a failure, that was. So that, now the more I look at it, was a good trade. The only thing that put me off, and it is valid that it is a little bit congested there, so it is riskier. So I think it's easy with hindsight to see it and go, oh, it's a good trade, but at the time it is going a little bit sideways, and I suppose it's possible then it could pop out the top before it comes down, but that would have given you a few points, that. But we've only been going, that would have been nice, wouldn't it? 2 minutes in and a nice trade in the bank. I think I'm about three 1-to-1 trades away from my target, thereabouts. So I'm not going to try and rush it and do it in one day, but I'm guessing maybe a couple of days, 2 to 3 days, if everything goes as well as it's been going. We've had this day 6 today, so we've had 5 nice positive green days, which is always good. So we had some news, only medium impact news, so that was at 1:30 UK time, so nothing really happened there, so we're news free for the rest of the day. So far looks like a start of a range day, I think. Depends where this comes down here, but there was a possibility there. Well, it was a trade. Excuse me. It was a trade, but it was a little bit congested. But there will have been some that will have taken that just purely by how quick It came down. So what's the weather like where you are, Luca? Is it warm over in Italy at the moment? I'm guessing it's warmer than the UK. It's about 2 degrees outside, 2 degrees C. It's come up a few degrees this morning. But I think the UK is pretty chilly at the moment. Okay, so we've had this channel working down and we've had this little bit of an overshoot. So it's, I think, 8 degrees, so you're a bit warmer than we are. I still prefer 8. We had to go out. My wife went to work this morning. I got up with her, went out and defrosted the car for her. There's nothing more I hate than a frozen car in the morning when the doors can't open. Which is another reason why I want to trade. I don't need to leave the house. I can sit here in the warm all day. Oh, you live in Milan? I do apologise, mate. You're at -5. Oh, crikey. That's probably quite a mild day for you, I'm guessing, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, -5. That's pretty chilly. We do get a few days like that in the UK, but not many. I'm not a cold fan. I'm not a cold fan. Mind you, when you've been through, I suppose if you live in a hot country, it might be quite nice now and again to get a bit of chilly weather, because it must get frustrating. Next week, -14, crikey. I think the coldest I remember in the UK was maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I think we had about -18. Obviously, rural areas get a bit colder, but that's the coldest I think I've experienced in the UK. But yeah, I suppose in Norway you're a lot more prepared for it than we are here in the UK. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of congestion again here. Interesting to see where we go from here, whether we're up, we're down a bit, whether we move back up again and we slowly move towards an uptrend. But at the moment, it's just looking rangy. Oh, you are right. I got you are from Rome, but you live in Milan. Okay, I got you. I got you. In Europe, a nice place is Canary. Is that the Canary Island you mean, or Canaria? Looks like Canary, but it's spelled Canaria, so I'm not sure about that one. Not been to many places, I've been to places like Turkey, and I've been to Egypt, and been to Cyprus, and been to Rhodes and places like that, but I've not travelled extensively in Europe. I worked in a ski resort 25 years ago for a while. Worked in Austria for a little bit, and France, just one season in a ski resort, but yeah. Tenerife, yeah, it's quite a popular destination for the UK. I've not been there myself. It's a volcanic island, I believe, lots of black sanded beaches. I don't know, that doesn't look like a beach to me if it's black sand. Beach has got to be nice and golden sand, I think, nice whitey golden sand. I got married out in Kenya about 20 years ago, and I've never seen sand that white in my life. It was almost like powder. I'm just going to zoom in here and have a look at this. Okay, so we've clearly had this trend. We've had 3 nice touches. Turns out that was a pretty good trade, although a risky one. We had a new high here. We came down, and there's our first push up in a second. So it was a failure. And it obviously the EMA is starting to tip again, and it's right at the top of that channel, and it's nice and bearish. I think it's probably a good chance, but obviously it is a little bit sideways, so it is riskier. I tend to avoid anything like this at the moment, and I think it's probably a a good thing to do that. So it's the last day for me. I'm back at work tomorrow, and I'll be trading then again from Tuesday, possibly Monday. But I will put something on Facebook, the Facebook group, if I'm not at work Monday. Okay, so we've had this overshoot. It's looking like, to me, like we're having a bit of a range at the moment. There is an overshoot of this channel, a little bit of sideways movement and 2 pushes up. So I'm possibly looking for a shorty. It depends how. If it's hugging it as nice as tight as that, I might go short there. That's clearly 2 pushes up. So I'm going to get an order ready, but I'm going to see how this. I'm going to see what happens here. And there's always the possibility we're not really in a range, and we may be slowly working up. You know, up, bit of sideways, up, down, bit of sideways, up again. But it's looking rangy to me at the moment, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. Okay, that's pushed above there, so yeah, sometimes when we make a bit of an overshoot we come out the other side, so I'm looking for it to go high where it is now, and then possibly work my way down for a lower high. If we get a lower high, then I'm thinking range at the moment, but it's looking pretty bullish, isn't it? Uh-oh. Yeah, it's making me a bit nervous, that is. Although, as it's pushed up, it's come down now. Oh, for Christ's sake. No. Okay, we're in on this. It's a little bit bigger than I was expecting. That I'd probably rush that just a little bit. I'll be comfortable if we break down below here. I mean, we're in this downtrend. It's looking rangy to me, so I'm expecting it to come down here. We've had an overshoot and a big push out this side, other side, followed by a big bearish bar. I'll certainly be more comfortable when that breaks below here. Although the EMA has gone quite flat. Okay, that's up my confidence a bit. Okay, where's this possibly likely to come down to? There's quite a lot of congestion around here, so where are we now? 38.75. I'm going to leave it about here, I think, and follow it down. We may be getting a lower high here. We'll see if that pops up a little bit, which will give it a little bit more. In fact, if we do get a lower high, I may get in on that one as well. We'll see. So we've had one big push up, then some sideways, another push up. So we could be getting the same big push down, pull back, followed by another push down. So okay, we didn't get the pull back that I thought we would. I'm going to be quite tight with this because I don't want to. Okay, there's a midline there, so that's making me a bit nervous. Okay, we came out there. What did we get? Oh, nice, $600 out of that one. Let's have a look. Cancel my runner. I didn't have a runner, mate. I actually notification failed. Okay, that's fine. I didn't have a runner. What I tend to do is I run the whole thing. I usually go for around about 1-to-1. So that was actually it was a little bit more. I went into that. Let's have a look. I came in here, didn't I? Have a look at that, mate. I came in here. Let's have a look. That's where I came in. So that, yeah, I took a little bit more risk than I wanted to there. So that was about a 4.75 risk. So I wanted to do 1-to-1. So it doesn't really matter. Let's get rid of that. Sorry, my apologies. What did we get? 44, 38.75. We got 6 points on that. But yeah, I tend to I like to do minimum 1-to-1, but if I think there's a good enough push down, I'll swing trade it. And the reason I'll have a look at the overall context and see what I think is going to happen. And we had one push up here, bit of sideways, another push up. So we had another push up, bit of sideways, and I'm thinking maybe another push down here, which is why I tried to swing trade it. But I wanted to come out around this congestion area and the midline, and I brought my stop down to here, which is somewhere around about 2/3 of the way down, and I was just going to bring my stop down and just try and jam it in as close as I could. So you have the same chart. I have the same chart as you, I guess, but yeah. Mine has a big wick and a close above the EMA. Yeah, it's weird sometimes. Some trades on someone's chart will be, pretty poor on someone else's, but thanks, Jane. Appreciate it. No good single bar on my chart either, so I skipped it. Yeah. On mine, the cigar bar was close above the 21 EMA with a long low wick. Yeah. Let me just get rid of this. The reason I took it is we've had this channel down in an overshoot, and a lot of times when we get an overshoot on one side, we'll do the same the other side. So we had two pushes up. So that was a second entry short and a big bearish bar, which engulfed this bar, and it was below the EMA. So I thought that was a good trade to run down to here, certainly in the midline. But I noticed there was some congestion around here, which is why I had my stop. I wanted my stop somewhere around the bottom, and my stop was there. That's where my stop was, which is somewhere around 2/3 of the bottom, and I thought that's where it may go. If I'm lucky, it'll push, which is why I put my stop there, and I'll let it come down so far, and then I just bring my profit order. I just bring my stop down and just try and capture as much as I can. But I just find I get way more points doing minimum 1-to-1. I was expecting that actually to come a little bit further because we had a push up side was a push up, push down side was in a push down again. It possibly will. But I expected possibly to stall somewhere around here because obviously that's an area of support. We've gone up and we've been supported by this line, which is why I stuck my stop around there. I thought we may have a bounce and a little bit of a pullback and then sit, but we've pushed above the EMA, so it's not what I expected. But we got $600 on that trade anyway, so I'm pleased with that. That's a good start. That is. So I'm about $460 off passing the evaluation. So that's all good. So what I try and do now is when I do that and have a good start off, I try and get even more. Like it's going sideways here. I try and get even more stricter on my trade choice. But that was clearly a second entry short. Break that side, break that side. I was expecting that to come down, and it did. What have I done there? Yeah, see, it's sort of. I was expecting it to maybe have a little bit of a pullback here. See, sometimes if I think it's going to go down, I'll hold on a little bit and get a little bit confident. But at the moment, I've just had a couple of hairy trades lately, so I get a little bit nervous. But I was expecting that to come down, bounce a little bit here, maybe a little bit of a pullback, followed by down towards the bottom. But market's got other ideas. But we are getting a little bit of, you can see that, can't you, there and there. So I was expecting something around here. Keith, thank you, Keith. Nice one. There was another one up here, actually. Riskier. But, looking the way things are, that was a nice third touch there. Nice bearish, exactly where I like them. Nice and bearish, and just, I like them a little bit lower than that, really. But that candle engulfed the last two, so that was worth, which is why I came in a little bit later than I should have, than I would have liked. But I thought it was a good enough trade to at least get down to here, somewhere around here. Chris, okay, I went back, and you placed a sell stop. I never see this before. Can you tell me why you had that other order? Right, okay. What it was is when it came down here, the one order triggered, and when it's coming back here, I was expecting a possible higher low, which is even more confirmation we're going lower. So I had another sell order ready to drop in there because I was quite happy to take a short there, and if we got a lower high, take another short underneath it, because it's okay to have two trades. If you've got two good trades, it's okay to take them both, if you're comfortable with doing it. So that's why I had that other one down here. But obviously, one of these didn't break higher. They sort of, each one was lower. For instance, if that one would have broken higher than this and been nice and bearish, that would have given me even more confirmation we're coming down. So Kim, sounds pretty much like my SP. Not sure what it is. Oh, yeah, you're talking to someone else. I got, yeah. So I wasn't expecting this. But there is quite a bit of there's a bit of congestion there in that line. Around about the bottom of there is, apart from this little break, is holding, isn't it? So often, sometimes the more things hold, it can act as a bit of a support area. Let's have a look. Okay, I see. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's all it was. What have I done down here? Let me have a look. Some mark order. Yeah, I had the one trade going, and then if that broke higher, I'd have brought that up and just had the two trades at the same time. If you see two good entries, it's okay to take them. But you've got to be confident that it is doing what you think it's doing. Otherwise, you could lose twice. But it never triggered anyway, so it never came into play. But it does now seem like, let's get rid of that we've had a push. Now that we've had a push up into here. Now if you look around on the internet and you look at patterns, chart patterns, you'll often see a push up, say from the bottom, some sideways movement, followed by a push out from the top. And then if you draw it, it sort of acts as like a bigger range, a bigger channel, sorry. And vice versa, if it comes down from the top and often goes sideways, you can expect it to, come down. But it's all about just getting used to what the market looks like and noticing things and patterns. And the more you sit there, the more you sort of get in tune with it. But it's, it takes we've got snow popped up again here. Excellent, my daughter will be happy. But yeah, it takes time. I do spend an awful lot of time looking at charts, and at the end of every day I watch Mac's chart. Sometimes I'll flick through there's what's the other one? The one that Marco's involved with. I think there's Marco and there's an American guy. I like them. They're both good. I like Marco's on a Friday. Fights Trader, I have a look through Fights chart, and I just see what people have done, what they've taken, what their chart looks like, what they've seen, and you just build up more of an overall picture of what things looking like. You just get more and more comfortable at looking and spotting trades. Okay, so if you start with that small-term trend, short-term trend, we've had a push at the break, 2 legs to a new high, so that's sort of played out, but it's quite likely a bigger overall channel, possibly something like that maybe. That fits okay. But I think what some people forget is when it breaks, they expect it to retest. Well, it may have already retested because we've had a smaller term trend channel which is broken, retested, so it doesn't necessarily mean if it comes back it's going to go higher. So you just got to keep it in mind that when you get these short term trends, we've had a break and 2 legs up to a new high, and it could come down from here, but Marco and Taylor. Oh, is that them? Taylor. I watched one of his last night. He's good, Taylor. In fact, he took that trade, he posted that trade yesterday that failed. There was a second entry short yesterday that failed. It was a pretty good entry. The only thing I can pick up of that is it was a slight overshoot on the left hand side, and where we're coming down, if you look on my chart here, where we're coming down here, we had this overshoot. Sometimes it can come back and it can make 2 legs up before it goes short, and you can get sort of caught out. And Mac mentioned it as well. I think there was a lot of traders got caught out there because I can't remember seeing it. I don't think it looked as bearish on my chart, but if I'd have seen it, I think I'd have took it as well. So yeah, you just got to be aware of that sometimes. But the more you make these mistakes, the better you'll get at spotting them. Once you've made them, you've had problems in a certain area, you'll get more and more used to to seeing it and to reminded. So there is a short there, but that's risky to me, that is, because we've only touched this once before. So I'm nervous about taking tops. If we'd hit that perfect top 3 times, then I may take it, and it quite possibly will come down, but I've taken so many of those which have come down a little bit and gone up, touched. So I just get wary of them. I like it to come down, and like the one we took yesterday, quite early-ish. Mac took that one as well. I like to get a sort of a lower high, which then gives me an indication we're coming down. Let's make this up a bit. It's actually quite a small risk. In fact, the ATRs, let's have a look. That's quite a small bar, that is. What is it? 2-point bar. have a look. They all took that second entry. Yeah, it was a third entry on my chart. That's the overshoot, made me skip it. To be honest with you, I can't even remember seeing it on my chart. I did have a look on my chart, and it didn't look quite as bearish on my chart. But, you know, Max mentioned that there was a little bit of an overshoot, so you've got to be careful. So all I do is just commit that to memory. So if we come down and have a bit of an overshoot, like we did here, sometimes we had an overshoot, but then we had 2 pushes up. So, you know, that's sort of how I like my shorts, really. You know, nice, and I prefer it, you know, the EMA hugging the top of that like that, and they just don't seem to fail them. Yeah, see what I mean? If you'd have took that short there, you'd have got stopped out there. I would have been expecting it to come down to here, so I'd have had my usual 3.5 points. And I don't think you got 2 points off it. Let's have a look. No. Yeah, that went down. I think about 1.5, 1.75. You wouldn't have got 2 points off it. See what I mean about getting wary about them. It's a Swedish guy. It's a Swedish guy too. Oh, okay. I know Marco's got something to do with it. I like Marco. I think he's a great trader, Marco. He's a very solid trader. And I've said this from day one. He's very robotic if you listen to him, which is exactly how I think you want to be. So, I mean, that could be a bigger channel there. It looks like it possibly be. I'll have to look a bit more into them, actually, because wherever I get good information and good feedback, and I feel like I've got value, I save it or take screenshots of it or photograph it, and I make a little note. So any bit of useful information I pick up, I like to keep them in mind. And I keep popping back to these people. So that's what you got to do. You got to find the people that, you know, that know what they're doing or seem to know what they're doing, and then try and learn from them. Which is what I did. I tend to attach myself to certain people, and I did a lot to Daniel and Marco. And you know, for a year, I posted my chart at the end of every day and said, give me some feedback. And I got constant feedback, and that's how I learned, really. And you never stop learning. Yeah, see, we could have the sort of starts of, there's nothing obvious yet, but sometimes when you get a few more swings up and down, it turns then into a little bit of a channel. Nothing quite yet, really. Right. Is that Alejandro? Is that your name, Alejandro? Yeah, you're coming through in Spanish, I think, mate. That's Spanish, I think. My Spanish isn't what it's used to, so I'm not sure what you're saying, bud. Anybody good with Spanish? Hey, Fife, how you doing, mate? Get a trick. Yeah, I did, mate. I got $600 actually. I got 6 points, I think, from this one here. I got down to, I think, about the midline there. There was one there as well, which looks quite nice, but it's congested. So I think the sensible thing to do was to, sorry, wrong. You're right, mate. Chris, we all trade with Thomas. Yeah, I believe he's got a system and a forum. I went to join it. When he started it, was it like 4 or 5 months ago? And he was only taking on so many people at the time, so I couldn't get in. But I like Thomas. He's a real passionate trader. But yeah, I know he's got some sort of a forum or something. But yeah, I did try to join his group. It wasn't much. Was it $20 or $30 a month or something like that? But he had no places available at the time. But yeah, he's a passionate trader, Thomas. He's a fanatic about trading, which I think helps you in this business. I think you've got to love it, haven't you? Yeah, see, we're above this, aren't we? And people are like, okay, is this a failed breakout? We're coming back in, or are we going up? That's why sometimes you can get that little bit of sideways movement, a little bit of uncertainty. You can almost predict where you're going to get that sometimes, because if you don't know where we're going, guarantees there's going to be a lot of people out there thinking the same. 35 a month, yeah. That's about right. There wasn't any available when I joined. I think he had, didn't he have different packages, and he had only so many slots available. If I just quickly bring in the 10,000 tick chart here, you can see this. We've opened, we've had a push down, so we're almost, if you look at that, we're working up in a bit of a channel, aren't we? So sometimes this can give you a bit of an indicator. So we've had one push up there, a little bit of a pull, another push up, two pulls back, another push up. This may be back in, another push up. So sometimes it can give you a little bit of an idea where it may go. Black Bay trading. I think Marco's bar by bar is more educational. Absolutely, I absolutely agree. Don't get me wrong. Mac's a lovely guy. He's excellent at what he does, and I think what he's done for the likes of retail traders like us, I think is brilliant. Charging $120 a year, I think is fantastic. I don't think there's a more valued trading course. I don't think Mac does it for the money, in all honesty. He's been training for 25 years. He's got this down to a fine art, and someone like that has no issues with making money. So, and he's been putting videos on YouTube going back 12, 13 years. And he, like you said before, he's not interested in likes or comments. He doesn't even look anymore. But I think he just does genuinely like helping people. But yeah, he's not. I mean, we've all got our strong points. He's not the best at maybe explaining things. But Marco, I think, is very good at it, because he like I've said this many times. He's very robotic, and he's very clear that yes, it's a good trade, or no, it's not. Occasionally he'll say it's a bit more risky, but he'll tell you what he's thinking and whether he will trade it. So you get used to seeing those patterns, and that gives you a little bit of a... yeah, he's a lovely bloke, Mac. He is, I've got to say. He's done a lot for trading. He has. I mean, he's helped me out. I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere, and he charged me $100 for it, really. So he's done a lot for the industry. He has, and a lot for retail traders, because I genuinely think he enjoys doing the videos. There's not many people been doing it 12, 13 years on YouTube as they're posting videos. He responds to emails. Yeah, I've spoke to him. I've sent maybe a dozen or two emails to him. And yeah, you always get a good answer. Like I said before, anyone can mark good trades on a chart in hindsight. Absolutely. Yeah, of course we can. And I can look back on that now and say that was a really good trade, only because I know it went down. You can't hide the fact that I know the market went down when I took that trade, because that could have come down a little bit, popped above it, and came back down. I think it was going down, but without, you take that away, it's a different story. It's very hard to, it's a lot harder to read, isn't it? It's very easy to look at the chart at the end of the day. You can spot them a mile away, can't you? But, see, we are almost sort of slowly working away. I don't think this is a failed breakout. I think that was the failed breakout if we had one, and it came back. But like I showed you a minute ago, if you look on the 10,000, get around 10,000 tick chart, we've had sort of two pushes up, a couple of pushes back. We've had one push up. It does look like, if you look there, it looks like we're moving up, doesn't it? And that's all you can do. It just to have an idea where it's likely to go, and that assists you where to take your trades, when we get them pullbacks. But, nothing's guaranteed, is it? I will say, guys, if I take a trade, don't necessarily think I'm right. There's going to be guys of you more experienced than me, and there's going to be some of you less experienced than me. I got a message from a guy on Facebook yesterday. on a messenger, and he said, "Tell me what chart what you're trading, what chart you're using, and what time scale you're using, and I'll copy you." So you've got to be careful doing that, because if someone copies you and loses a stack of money, you don't look good. So I think I sent him a kind message. I think I just said, I don't, I don't really want people copying me, because, I'm only learning myself. I'm not doing this to teach other people. I'm not doing this to make, YouTube doesn't interest me. You'll never hear me say press the like button or subscribe or nothing like that. This is purely just to hook up with some other people and, to be accountable. But I'm not interested in teaching. It doesn't interest me. I'm not very good at explaining things. I'm not a natural teacher. And I want to make my money trading, sat in the comfort of my own home. I don't want to have responsibilities like having to, create constant material for people and this, that, and it doesn't interest me. Thomas's group. If you go on to his YouTube, go onto his YouTube page, and if you look down in the links on the information under the video, I'm pretty sure there's a link to it there. I started getting abuse from my streams. That's why I've taken a break here. I've not got so much of abuse yet, although it's early days. But I think that was just a guy who wanted to copy me. But okay, so I've had five good days, but it don't always work that way, and it's only because I'm super careful at the moment. But the trouble is, you can't copy people if you wanted to, because that might have looked a good trade to me, but to someone else, it might look different. So you can't do it really. Wade Trainer, yeah, there we go. Oh, Sam, how you doing, mate? Morning. And you are from Hawaii, I remembered, because I think I went to bed dreaming I was sat there. I was sat in Hawaii with a beer last night. So where can I find? Oh yeah. So Wade Training Academy. He's good, Thomas. I like Thomas. He's been doing it a fair few years now. Another thing I like about him is he used to post, well, he still does, I think, post some of his trades, and he posts his losses as well. And it's nice to see people like the guy yesterday, the American guy yesterday on Top Pick Trading. He's shown that trade. It's nice because it does make people look more human, doesn't it? Because sometimes you think these guys, they're earning tons of money, they never get it wrong, and it just goes to show, it doesn't matter how experienced you are, or how long you've been doing it, you can still get caught out. Okay, so we've had this break, we've had a new high, 2 clear pushes down to the EMA. That's a hidden second entry long. If it forms, but I'm just a bit nervous about going long there because we've had this break and a new high, because this could still be a failed breakout of the top here. I thought this might be the area where it breaks and fails, but it didn't. It came back, retested the top and went a bit higher, so I'm not confident enough to. It doesn't look like there's going to be a setup there anyway. I'm not confident enough, but that is a second entry. If anyone doesn't know what hidden second entries are, you've got the 2 red candles, a little bit of a green one, a couple more. So it came down, stalled a little bit, came down. So that's what Matt calls a hidden second entry. But obviously there's no setup there if you wanted to go long, but it could quite easily come down, and it possibly will actually. We've gone up, sideways, up, down, up, bit of sideways. Possibly come down. We don't copy with Wade. We help each other. No, I don't think he allows you to copy him. To be honest with you, I think part of the reason why they don't do that is because the charts can be so varied, and what might not. And not only that, you want to learn yourself really, because if it's okay copying someone, but if they decide to give up, you're buggered. So you've got to learn yourself really, and as we've just talked about, charts can look quite different. you know, what's a good signal bar for me. And if I'm taking crap signal bars just because it looks good on your chart, is giving me mixed messages. Okay, I'm not sure it's doing that. I'm just, we've gone up in this channel, we've had a break, and we've had one little high come back. We've had 2 pushes up to a new high. Does seem to have stalled around there, and we've had 2 pushes down here, and we've come up. So this is only a first entry, but it's above the EMA, so I wouldn't want to, because it could come down and bounce and move up again. But this is just an idea of where it may go. 1 push down, pull back, it could go again, and then up and down, but I want to see it come down here first and then come back. Certainly sort of fits there, doesn't it? Let's see what happens here. In fact, someone did message me yesterday and said, you want to put a, what did he say? A disclaimer. Just put a disclaimer on, because if you do get someone, like that guy messaged me, who decides to copy and they lose a ton of money, it doesn't look good, does it? But Thomas Wade, yeah, I watched his video last night. Okay, this is looking like it's moving down. There's our break, 2 legs up to a new high. First push up. I'm looking for something else up here really before I think about going short, preferably below the EMA, but there's certainly 2 pushes down, isn't there? We're below the EMA, this is played out, so took that second entry. You took that one, did you, bud? Scalped. Second entry. So it's not really a second entry on mine, it's a first entry, isn't it? I suppose you could call it a hidden, I suppose, couldn't you? The trouble is, it doesn't look right on my chart, but it could look good on yours, so that's the thing about copying people. It just doesn't really work, does it? But it could be going sideways, so it's hard to, until you get a few confirmations. You don't really want to be going here, because if it is going sideways, it's likely going to break above here. Yeah, if you look at the, like we just chatted about, yeah, we've had this push up, pull back, push up. It would make sense, wouldn't it, to come back to the EMA on the 10,000 tick chart. So that is giving us a bit of an indication that this may be working down. Could be a long here. Trouble is, if this is clearly sort of working down, isn't it? And if you take a long here, I'm not saying it's not going to work, but that would sort of really be counter trading, wouldn't it? Counter trend trading. And the trouble is, if you take a long here, it might just pop off a little bit and then continue down. See, this to me at the moment, that's 2 pushes down, which is indicating we're working down at the moment. We're below the EMA, so you don't really want to be going long below the EMA, especially as the EMA is pointing down. We've had this channel up here, haven't we? We've had a break. We've had 2 pushes to a new high, and then at the moment we're clearly working down. That's not to say we're not going to move up here, but if you're going along into this, then it's riskier, isn't it? I remember Daniel said something to me about a year ago when I was taking longs in here because it was a second entry long. He went, "You're just looking for patterns. You're not thinking about the context." And it might be a second entry long, but the context is showing the market's moving down. Do you know what I mean? So just because it ends up being a nice second entry long doesn't mean it's going to go up here. It could just pop up here a little bit and then down it'll come. You know, I'm not saying it's not going to push straight up, and it may do. So yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah, you got to be careful. You know, counter trend trading. Yeah, really at the moment, we can only really be waiting for shorts, can't we? That's my opinion anyway. Yeah, 10,000 tick chart is pushed up here. It looks like we've had one push down followed by a possible other one, so I'm still expecting it to go lower. Excuse me. Oh, somebody mentioned it there about my mic. It didn't sound very good, so I did a little bit of looking around earlier, and I bought this for £50 a couple of weeks ago, and apparently it's a condenser mic, and what I need is a dynamic mic. So I'm going to keep this going for Christmas, and over the Christmas period I'm going to look for something that sounds a little bit more crisper. The trouble is, I've had a cold for the last sort of couple of weeks, week and a half, and when I'm listening back, every tiny little cough and sniff and move of the chair you can hear, and it's doing my head in, so it must be a little bit annoying for you. So let's have a look here. So okay, so there's our first entry. For me it's fine. I think what it is this is a condenser mic, and from what I've figured, this is better for maybe people like musicians, that you can hear every tiny little detail. But what you don't want is the detail of, you know, my lips moving, or, you know, me sniffing because I got a cold, or, you know, clicking the mouse, or me shuffling around. I think we want to block that out earlier, and I did a little bit of look on YouTube, and they shown a couple of the condenser mic and the dynamic mic side by side, and the dynamic mic sounded better, clearer, a little bit more punchier and bassier, and less, You know, if I move away a foot away from the mic, you can't hear it. So it's, you know, little movements like the keyboard or the chair. You've not got pumping in your ear. So if I look at that, there's nothing there really at the moment. Second entry short is, I don't know, it's just, it needs to break above that for a start, but it is a little bit of sideways. You struggle with my British accent. Mate, you probably speak better English than I do. Okay, so that's a second entry. Let's see where that goes. It's having quite a push up there. That might be a break of this channel. Or it could be going sideways. It's hard to tell really. I had a higher low it took. Higher low. Not this one, did you? Did you take that one? Trouble is it's around the middle of on the run. Oh right, okay. Yeah, see if I look now quickly on the 10,000 tick chart, it's probably a bit small if you can see that. It's going a little bit sideways there, isn't it? So I was expecting it to come back to the EMA, but it's going a bit sideways. So that's certainly in play, but I'm just going to do this. Yeah, I think that was a sort of a downtrend within this range. Could go straight up to 39.80 up here. You're going to get some press ups if that doesn't work. Yeah, it's sort of looking like an overall uptrend, isn't it? But when I put something there, it's not quite showing it clearly yet. Well, that's the bit that, I mean, we may work up to here and then work back down to here. So in the next hour, it may look like more of a, but at the moment, it just looks like 2 pushes up, pull back, 2 pushes up. So you've really just got to, well, I don't know. Runner still alive. Where did you go? Here. Yeah, so if we are in this little bit of a range here, it may stall around here, mate. But there again, you got to push up. You may push up again. Got a hit at the previous high. Yeah, so that's why you've got to make your own decisions, haven't you? See someone, yeah, somebody mentioned high here, second entry long. But to me, this is, at the moment, we've got push down. This is working its way down. So I can't bring myself to take a long at the moment. But whoever did take a long, might have just been you or something. It worked. That's the thing, you never know. You've just got to treat it how it looks at the time when we started here, we touched here, we sort of, you know, and we're sort of respecting the bottom, aren't we? So your chart is very different. Okay, there was a higher low for us, but the trigger was into a major resistance. Yeah, and that's the trouble with, I don't think you can copy people if you wanted to, because it's just, it varies too much, doesn't it? In fact, you know what? Maybe a few months ago, I had a really good second entry short on my chart. And I marked it like this. Beautiful second entry short. And then halfway through the day, I right-clicked and reloaded my historical data. And then when I posted my chart later, someone said, "Oh, you shouldn't have took a short there." And when I looked at it, it looked awful. So it looked good before I, changed it to change my reload historic data, and then it looked like a bad trade after that. So it does make you wonder why it works sometimes. It's at the higher low, yeah. Yeah, you've got to trade what you see, haven't you? What you're comfortable with. When I started watching the Panda guy for a while, and this was probably going back maybe a year ago, and I was seeing some of his trades, and I was copying some of his, and I was losing quite a few of them. So I thought, even though he's been doing it longer than me, you've got to be careful copying someone else, because it leads you into a false sense of security. I think it's a good idea to get other people's feedback primarily, just to see how they've drawn their channels, and it just helps you confirm what you sort of maybe already knew. But yeah, I started copying a few of his, and I was just losing quite a bit. Not money, but they just the trades weren't working. Yeah, still watch him now and again, and he does tend to have more red days than he has. He's a nice chap, but sometimes he can be quite an aggressive trader. And I know sometimes when he's taking his entries, he's almost saying they're a bad entry. I'm probably going to get stopped out here as he's taking them. But I think by the sounds of things, he makes money. He's got quite a few accounts, I believe. But he's a nice guy. But yeah, I watch him from time to time. It's just nice to have a little bit of company sometimes. Yeah, V Wilson. I was chatting to him yesterday briefly, just on YouTube. I'm glad to see him back, actually, because he had a break for a while. Yeah, he's a nice chap. And I'll tell you, I rate as a good trader as well, the Penguin guy. He's very good at reading the markets, and I think he's part of the reason why I started going more one for one. But I think he's exceptional at reading the markets. I was watching his video last night, and he must have got the best part of 30 points yesterday. I was quite stunned, actually. The guy's got balls of steel. A couple of his trades, he took 2-1. But I think he's exceptionally good at reading charts. He's way above my league. But I watch him a lot, and I try and take on. If I see someone doing well, I'll try and try and pick their brains and learn what I can. Doesn't matter what charts that not exactly like. Understand context is more important. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, watch him, the Penguins guy. He's very good. And V Wilson as well. I messaged him yesterday. I said it's nice to see him back. We're all in the same boat, aren't we? We're all a bunch of like-minded people. It was stubborn and won't give up, and we're all after making a better lives and earning some decent money. And I think if you put the hours in and just keep at it, you'll get your rewards. That's confusing that now, so I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, it does seem like it's slowly working up, doesn't it? Hidden second entry here. Here, you mean? There's nothing on my chart, is there? Well, actually, if you look at that is, but it's It's an inside bar, isn't it? It does seem to be wanting to push up, doesn't it? Now you've got the trend line I have. That's why I went long. This here, you mean when I drew that? Oh, okay, let me put it back. Is that what you mean? Where did you go long? It was about here, wasn't it? Yeah. Right, okay, so, yeah, see. Yeah, it sort of does, doesn't it? It just looks more sideways than my Charles like Wilson. His videos are great for making you mind think quickly. V. Wilson, yeah, he's good. Wilson, I do like him. I'm glad to see him back. He took a break for a while. I don't think that's valid. The uptrend, it didn't look right, did it? It didn't quite. I suppose you get used to seeing a trend channel, don't you? It might be worse because I've got that there. That might look a bit better. In fact, it probably does a bit better, doesn't it? But I don't know. It's still no, it doesn't look right to me. Push down, pull up. Oh, it's hard to say at the moment. It's a bit choppy. Maybe it's a bit like that. Yeah, it's a little bit choppy at the moment. I like the spike and channel from here. 2 legs up. I think your spike isn't drawn correctly. From here. Let's have a look at that. See, that's stopped there, isn't it? I could range. Yeah, it's certainly going a bit sideways, isn't it? Should be a higher low channel, break the 2 legs at new high, and drawn the shallower trend from the pullback. Shallower trend from the pullback, you mean from here then, yeah? Is that what you mean? Shallower trend. So that's from the pullback, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose. See, if you go like that and drag that in, it does look like a bit of an uptrend, doesn't it? But yeah, it's just so hard to tell at the moment, isn't it? It's certainly doing some sideways stuff. See where this finishes. See, that to me doesn't look like a trend. See where this ends here. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, that doesn't look like a channel to me. Go back one more, pull back this one here. Okay, yeah, that fits all right, doesn't it? Touch in here. Let's get rid of this. Okay, that looks better. The only bit that confuses me is that like that. But that probably was a. Let's have a look. Yeah, we certainly seem to be. We're clearly moving up. I think it's going for a measured leg at around 39.86. 39.86 was it? This morning, one loser on a fade attempted on a winner. Second entry trigger up 1650 so far. Excellent. Morning, buddy. How you doing? That's what we like to hear. $1,650. Beers on you tonight. That's pocket change to you pilots, isn't it? You get that a day. That's a day's wages, isn't it? Yeah, it looks, I don't know, it just looks a bit messy to me for a channel. It certainly fits, but we'll soon find out, won't we? Chips. punch on wins and lose. Yeah, that's the trouble. That is. So what I tend to do, I have this little thing that if I do like I did a trade earlier, quite early, got $600, and I try and now be a little bit more choosy on my trades, because it can sometimes make you feel a bit cocky and a bit confident, and you think, yeah, I've got this, I'm going to do well today, and then you get a hiccup, and there's nothing worse than giving back your profits, is there? It's quite heartbreaking. I'd rather lose a trade when I haven't made anything in a day rather than lose a trade when I've had a good start. It's going to break your line. Which line is that? This one I pay, you mean? Maybe. That line there. Who said it's going up there? Was that you, was it? Yeah, it was. Get ready to do your press-ups. All good. My risk was 1%. 1% on the account. I can lose up to 100 times in a row. 1%. Okay, so what did you... Let's try and work out how big your pot is here. You made $1,650 and you're risking 1%. Okay, so let's see if we can work this out. You're risking 1%. Okay, so did you go for 1-to-1? You probably didn't, did you? So if you went for 1 point or 2 points, so you got a fair old chunky account there, haven't you? Are you going to tell us? Come on, let us know how the other half live. Same rage, fade and lost. Which one did you do? I think it was further back, wasn't it? Was it? It wasn't that one, was it? It was this one, wasn't it? I'm guessing. It seems like a lot, but it's limited each other of the trade. I risk $1,000. You risk $1,000, and that's 1% of your account. So you risk $1,000, 10%. $10,000. So you got 100 grand then, don't you? I think that's by the sounds of things, isn't it? Does that sound about right? Yeah. You should be ashamed of yourself. Okay, yeah, so by the looks of things, you took that one, didn't you? So the only thing about that one is we've only really had a touch once before, haven't we? I tend to like touching things, well, a triple test, they say, but it is quite low, isn't it? So you wouldn't have quite got 2 points, would you? So we definitely have a sort of something working up, don't we? It'd be interesting to see where that comes. It just that throws it a bit, doesn't it? There's nothing on the top really, is there? So let's get rid of that. And that for now, I think. Time to adjust. See, it broke your line. Which line? Oh, down here. Yeah, I can't tell what's happening at the moment. We've clearly got an upward bias, haven't we? But I feel naked now without that. That's better. That doesn't feel right without that. I'll leave that there for now. That's the area where we're working in, isn't it? Excuse me, just two minutes. Yeah, something doesn't look right to me. It's respected the bottom here and here, but I don't know. It just. So we've got an upward bias. Normally, if you had a break out the bottom of a channel, you'd expect a retest or certainly to move back into it. Possibly make a new high, but I'm not confident enough in that trend to go long if I get a setup here. It just doesn't look right to me. Uh, 10,000 tick chart sort of sideways at the moment. We've had a push, couple of pushes up, couple of pushes down, one push up, a little bit of sideways. It's possibly coming down and touching this EMA, so it's just, we've certainly got an upward bias at the moment. So looking for longs is my preference, but I'm not confident enough that this is a channel. Normally when we break a channel like this, we'd move back up into it and possibly hit a new high or rangy. It seems more rangy to me than that channel. It just doesn't look right, the channel. But you know, if you think we're in a range and you see an opportunity, don't let me tell you otherwise. But for me, it's going sideways at the minute. You took the lower, yeah. Took a long here. I adjusted the trend line you had lower. You adjusted it. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly working a way up, but it's not as a. You know, I think we're ranging at the moment, but you know, it's feasible. Obviously, we're down here that it's going to be. See, that's the second entry short if it comes short there. So we've had this big push, well, this one push down here and a pullback. We could get another push down. It's tempting, that is. It's very tempting. See where it ends up. It's not quite bearish enough for me, but I think push down, pull back, push down. I don't know. It's not bearish enough for me. I love where it is. That's where I like taking them, but it is a little bit flat. The main, it's at that midline, is it? But we've had a push down below the midline, pull back up, so it's feasible. It's going to come down here. It possibly will. Let's see if it does. It's feasible. It's going to do that. Second entry long, obviously. That's a hidden second entry long. Yeah, see, I can't bring myself to do longs at the moment, see. If I had to put money on it, I'd say this is what we're doing, coming round to about here, because we've had that push down strongly below the EMA. We've come back up, second entry short, relatively bearish bar, right tight that. That's what I'd put money on, but I'm not confident enough to trade it, so. Let's see. Yeah, that's why I didn't take it. It's just, It's not bearish enough for me, and I'm not convinced I know exactly where it's going. So I'll tell you why I think that's had a bit of a spike there, is because there's probably second entry short. After this pull down, I dare say there's going to be some shorts in there, but that was a riskier bar, and the shorts that have been triggered and stopped out, which is, I think that's why you had that quick bit of a movement up there. Yeah, it's a bit choppy at the moment, isn't it? I'm getting better and better at leaving the chop, I am. You know, some points during my trading, I've been that desperate to find something. I'm just going through it going, is that a second entry? Is that a second entry? I'll take that. I'm just trying to constantly look to make something. When really you should just be sitting back and waiting for something to pop into, and, you know, to appear and go, wow, look at me. So you've got to be careful of that. I've been guilty of that. I have. Too keen to get in there and take trades instead of waiting patiently to find them, you know, for them to appear. Yeah, 50% retrace. Seen this for many years, my entire trading life. How long you been trading, mate? You've been going a while, I think, haven't you? Extremely common. Helps with target selection. Yeah. See, I suppose, you know, the longer you've... it's a failure here. Yeah, this one here. Yeah, see, I've been doing this 2 years. See, so I'm only really... I think I'm able to now be able to spot obvious trades, but not pick up maybe some of the slightest obscure ones, which are noticeable by the, you know, the more experienced traders. But, you know, I don't suppose you have a... See, really what we're doing here is studying human behaviour, aren't we? Because that's the only thing really that moves the markets. Human beings, they look at something and they decide, I like the look of that, or I don't like the look of that, and never traded you before, so don't listen to me. Don't listen to me either, mate, to be honest with you. You know, I think I know enough to be able to make some money out of it, but I am still going to have you know, I've had some scrappy days where I've made silly mistakes. Yesterday I made a silly mistake. I lost confidence in the trade and got out, so I'm making mistakes. But, you know, I think I've come enough now to be able to find, you know, I know when I see a good trade, and I seem to be able to make money from that. I've just got to try and, you know, have a little bit more confidence in my trades. And, you know, when it's like this, sit back. So I'm getting better at it. Human emotions, absolutely, yeah. We get some bad news. Markets go down, people sell, I want to get rid of it. I don't like, you know, the way it feels, but it is human behaviour, isn't it? You know, human beings see something and they decide that's what I want to do, and it's trying to find out what the majority of people are thinking. Plan to go full-time eventually. Is that you or me? But I certainly do. I'm guessing you will as well at some point. You know, I mean, I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. What I'll do, if I can get to the stage of earning a smaller, regular amount of money from this, then I'll just go down to working Saturday, Sundays. So I've got, you know, I've still got some money coming in, and then that'll then allow me to trade, you know, full time Monday to Friday. We used to trade by order, paper booklet in the mail. Like crossover book the race. Magazine. Do you know, I did a 6-month mentorship with a guy called Andrew Lockwood, who started in the trading pits at the London Stock Exchange in the 80s, and yeah, everything was done on paper there. You know, pieces of paper flying around, you know, hand signals and all that stuff, and he did that. He did that for, yeah. We got an old timer here, Kirk. You're an old timer. You must be an old guy. You must be quite old. Are you old? You must be old. Show my age here. You're not that old, are you? Are you older than me? I'm 53. Are you older than me? I'm guessing we're probably similar age, aren't we? Matured. Gotta say, sometimes I wish I'd have done this years ago. If I could change one thing, that's for sure. I wish I'd have done it years ago. Hate working for other people. Hate lining someone else's pockets. You know, I've worked for companies before. You give you, oh, you're valuable to us. You're this, you're that. They don't care. They're just out to line their own pockets. Occasionally you'll get a decent boss. You'll get a nice company to work for. But the majority of people. I worked for a company for about 11 years. And every notice board you went in the building, they had signs saying a quality this and a quality that. Come Christmas, all the managers and their wives got a nice hotel away, lovely meal, free bar, all paid for, and the lads that worked got nothing. They had to arrange their own, their own do. So that's not a quality to me. I want to stop turning wrenches. This is why I'm trading wrenches. So you're a plumber there, are you, guy? You a plumber, Chris? I work for a large American oil company. Do you now? So, large American oil company. So, let me think. Because I used to drive oil tankers. And I used to, that's how I got into driving initially. And then I came back out of it. I got into driving around 2008 when they had the sort of credit crunch in the UK, and I needed some, to get back into some sort of employment. So I used to pick up base oil and move that around. Kirk, that's why I trade size. I'm running out of time. Gulf War syndrome. It's going to get me. Are you in the Gulf, were you? Got some master trade. Gulf War syndrome. Were you over there? Are you military? Were you ex-military? I got a military background. I had a military family. You worked with all for years, yeah. Yeah, I had a military family. I had fortunate enough to have two fathers in the army. Yeah, I had two fathers in the army. My dad, my biological father, was killed when I was a young lad, when I was about 3 or 4. Killed in Northern Ireland on active service. And I had a stepfather who was in the army, so we had a strong military background and connection. Used to work offshore. Oh, did you really? Are you combat vet? Oh, good on you. I don't wear it on my sleeve. I've got the utmost respect for ex-military. 100%. I lost a father when I was a young lad. I had a lot of family, and I had an uncle who was quite a high-ranking officer at the time. I've got lots of military family around, military friends. I've got the utmost respect for anybody who puts on a uniform for his country. Absolutely. Done a lot of damage to the planet. My time needs to make. In fact, I got a friend, actually, Andrew Chadburn, who worked on rigs for a while. I did that for quite a few years, I believe, off Scotland, offshore, somewhere up there. He's a good friend of mine. Chris Kirk, I'm in the US. My company is a German company now. There could be support at 39.64. We haven't had your support yet up here, have we? 39.64 down here. Right, let's put another one of your lines on there, mate. What was it again? 39.64. So you're responsible for these two up here. Okay, so let's see if we hit either of them, because you're going to give us 2 lots of press-ups if you don't. Seismic on a large vessel. I got to travel the world. Excellent. Got to say, I like travelling. We travelled a bit with the military, not many places. I mean, we did Germany, we did Hong Kong, Northern Ireland, Cyprus. So we did some nice places abroad, but lots of miserable, boring, cold places around the UK. But yeah, anybody who's military, ex-military, and anything to do ex-military, has my utmost respect. You're not responsible. Too late, mate. I've already marked them. They ain't going anywhere. These are your responsibility. I roughnecked in the old before the military. So you've been around, haven't you? You've had some experiences. So you're our old and wise guru then from now on. Changing out to turbochargers now. I wish I could be training. I wasn't military, mate. I did a little bit in the reserves, as they're now known, for a couple of years. But a military family. I had a couple of dads in the military. I had an uncle in the military and brother in the military. And we moved around military camps for probably the first 20 years of my life, I think. So I spent a lot of time around ex-military. A lot of ex-military family. It is a big family, I've got to say. Always felt pretty comfortable around, you know, military guys and ex-military guys. See, I think that's a good thing about these little get-togethers, really, isn't it? We get a chance to get to know people. Find out, you know, what other people have done in their life. Makes things a bit more interesting. So you really are Captain Kirk then, aren't you, by the sound of things? Oh, you was in the RAF, were you? I had a couple of friends in the RAF. In fact, there's a RAF guy where I work, and he gets teased a lot about the correct way to load a suitcase onto an aircraft. Your support is on the range, yeah. RAF, yeah, shout out. Okay, so we've had this one touch at the bottom of this channel, haven't we? Bottom of this range, sorry, and another touch. Bit of a bounce there, but risky, that one. It is a second entry long, but I suppose you could say it's a touch here, but this would get me concerned. I suppose you could say that's a triple test there, but I just don't like the fact that we've already been down here, so I wouldn't be confident enough to take that trade. Although it probably will work, but I've had a good start to the day, so I'm going to roll back a little bit. Okay, so you're right. You were in the RAF regiment then. Got you. So you're a proper soldier. Yeah, I didn't realise till a few years ago the RAF had their own regiment, but I was watching some programme on the TV where they were pitting different militaries and different regiments up against each other on, you know, various. It was like, you know, one of these TV shows, and I think the RAF regiment were pitted up against, I think, the Green Berets, and I think they walked all over them, to be honest with it. And until then, I didn't know they had a regiment. Morning, Dylan. How you doing, bud? How are you? Yeah, see, if I'd taken that long there, it was a second entry long, I'd be, my arse would be twitching about now. That's the trouble when you've been down here before. Yeah, if anybody took that second entry long, you'd have got stopped out there. I raise my winnings. winnings yesterday. I risked my winnings yesterday and lost horribly. It's going to have to be a really good setup for me, yeah. Not a 2 measured leg down yet. You tried it, have you? Patience, absolutely. It's something I've struggled with. I used to revenge trade a lot. I went for a stage of doing that, and I always found if I took a trade that I believed to be a good trade, I was okay with it. But if I took a trade that I really knew that I shouldn't have took, that's when it tended to set me off a little bit. So I concluded it's not down to revenge trading. I can't say it's making me do that. It's purely and simply down to patience. Because if you're patient enough to wait a good trade and you lose it, you can deal with that. If you take a trade that something in the back of your head was telling you it's risky, leave alone. Those are the ones I struggle with. Okay, so there's a couple of options here. We're in a bit of a range, although it's a messy one. So you could say this is a failed breakout, but I don't like the way it's come off here. It's struggled to get up here, which is telling me then maybe it might be working down. So which means I'm not confident enough to think about. Yeah, see it could be like that, or it may be a failed breakout of this, but the fact that we've only really been up here once and we've come down here. Let's have a look at the whole day. Yeah, there's certainly an upward bias, isn't there? But there's nothing that gives us any real indication of. Let's see if there's a spike channel there. Does that work? Not quite, does it? Maybe that. We may get something that fits at some point. Maybe something like that. That's a possibility. Something along those lines anyway. If we come back here and then push up again, I'd say then there's a fair chance we may have something like this. Okay, so we've come up, we've come down, we've come up, we've come down, so we might be doing this sort of hopscotchy sort of pattern, haven't we? Certainly not confident about thinking about riding this back up here. On the exercise currently that the gorillas urging. I'm making good with it. See on the 10,000 tick chart, we're back to the amount we pushed up here a couple of times, came back 2 legs down, the EMA below it. We pushed up here a couple of legs up, possible 2 legs down, so you know we could be sort of moving back up again. It's hard to say at the moment, that's a possibility. I'm just going to remove that for a minute. It is confusing. So if I break from this channel, I can't even really see any type of a slightly bigger channel to give me more of an indication where we're going. Maybe a big trend from the lows. Maybe a big trend from the lows from on 0845. We're about 0845 time. Yeah, that's from you then, isn't it? I haven't got 0845. I'm assuming you mean down here, aren't you? I did try and put something on there, but oh well. Okay, so that's sort of that doesn't look too bad, does it? We've had this bit of push out, which should usually have some sort of reaction here, isn't it? Okay, that doesn't look, in fact, yeah, see, when I see Mac doing it, and he does those, he does that. That certainly looks, well, that sort of tells me that there's a possibility then, there's an uptrend, which is a little bit more clearer, in which case, doesn't matter whether we have it there or there, what's important is we've had 3 touches along that line. Let's take that down a little bit lower. Okay, that's as good as a touch as you're going to get, isn't it? Okay, so that's given us maybe a little bit more indication of where we may be going. See, there is a lower high here, isn't there? I don't really like taking them below the EMA, especially when the EMA is pointing downwards. Well spotted there, bud. Well spotted. But it's low high. It wasn't a very good signal bar anyway. So that to me looks like it might make 2 pushes up and come down again. But that would blow the whole idea of a bigger trend out the water, wouldn't it? So yeah, I'm just going to sit tight. It's a bit choppy, really. It's not quite clear. If we then start moving back up towards here, then looks like that overshoot on the top. Here, there, yeah. Trouble is, when you get an overshoot, something like that, doesn't it usually have an effect on somewhere else, possibly down here. But that looks relatively valid, doesn't it? Somebody certainly thinks it does, because it's bouncing off there. I just don't feel comfortable taking a long below the EMA, really. I mean, it's looking bullish, isn't it? But obviously with this you know, this trend working down here. We have a break and then maybe retest before we go up, if indeed we are going up. So there's a second entry, a lower high there, sorry, a higher low, but the it's a bit too much of a wick at the top, really, isn't it? Doesn't instill confidence, does it? Brad N. Okay, you're a new face, aren't you? How you doing, pal? Brad N. That's all you've got to say. Overnight highs are 39. We've actually broken them, I think, haven't we? The overnight highs. So look. Overnight highs. Well, probably overnight highs for you, aren't they? For me, middle of the afternoon highs. So look. Just what I see currently. Yeah. Okay, so the overnight highs are here, aren't they? Let's have a look at that. See if it does come right down and retest this line, or whether it breaks lower and then possibly goes back into it. Let's have a look. So we've had two pushes. We'll know which direction to go when it retests the overnight highs. See, what do you class as the overnight highs? The overnight highs are here for me, which is the bottom of this range. Yeah, around about the bottom of this range, isn't it? So there's the overnight highs. Or you classing this as the overnight highs. It's a bit different with me, see, because that's early morning for me. Well, so are you thinking possibly here then in that case? 39.65. Right, okay, so yeah, here. 39.65. Yeah, so basically that line there. So the 10,000 tick chart is, we've come back to this and we've broken below this EMA, which we did here, so maybe we are in this sort of, well, it looks clear on there, doesn't it? We're in that uptrend, the trend we've drawn really from the highs and the lows, obviously with taking into consideration that bit of an overshoot. Didn't quite hit the EMA on that. See, maybe we've had this downtrend break, new low. Perhaps we're going to have a new low, move up, or a fell break out the bottom of the range. Bottom of the channel, sorry. I class the overnight highs as the highest point in pre-market before regular hours. Okay, so pre-market is 2:30 UK time, which is around about here. So yeah, you'll be talking there, yeah. Which is, as we said, 39.65. Okay, so that range is played out. Two pushes up to the EMA, didn't quite make it. Broken below. So that's played out. So let's see where we go from here, whether this moves back into here to confirm this channel's. You missed it. You're going to go short there, were you? So that to me on my chart is, yeah, there's still a good wick at the top and bottom. Yeah, I go for these. Yeah, missed it too. Yeah, so the trouble is, I'm not confident enough to take it that far from the EMA, especially when you've got those two side by side with equal wick either side. That's more of a sort of a dojish, really, isn't it? Not confident enough to go short there, me. Okay, there's an engulfing bar. That's played out. We've got a new low. There's an engulfing bar. Perhaps that may take us back into this channel. Hoping to subject to confirmation. Yeah. Let's see if this pushes back in here. Looks like it may. Yeah, it was a weak two-legged pullback. Yeah, it just didn't pull back enough, really, did it? Yeah, it's easy to get caught there, isn't it? It's almost like a doji, really, isn't it? Stem up, stem down. It needs to be up here, really, doesn't it? And then finishing around about here. Most trades aren't perfect. Yeah, I don't even think that's close to being okay, really, though, is it? I mean, it obviously worked, but I try and get them nice and close to the EMA. I do. Unless we're moving down really quick, then a lot of the times it won't get back. Yeah, it's not clear, is it? Do get that impression it's moving down. See, there's all this. See, this bit of congestion was below the middle line, wasn't it? And here, so we're moving back towards here. We come out of this channel, but you would think we'd be, after a couple of pushes down, we'd be working way back in if we were going to go into it. But I'm getting the impression we're moving down. My opinion with a rounded top, it is a rounded top, isn't it? Possibly head all the way down to the overnight lows. It's good on the overnight tops. Yeah. So the overnight lows. Certainly doesn't seem to want to stay up here, does it? Okay, there's a second entry short there, isn't there? That's too far away for me. Or is it second entry short? Not quite. Two pushes up. Let's see, is this a channel? It's possibly a channel, or it's possibly just working down from there. Break. $3955. What is that? $3955 here. It's the what? Sorry, it's the open price. Let's have a look. I usually put a line around the open. Is the 9:30 Eastern Standard Time open, which is here, isn't it? What did you say it was? I think it's going to go sideways a bit and then drop again. 39. We'd say 39.55. So that's here, isn't it? It could go either way, but my bias is still up, not taking anything. Yeah, it's not very clear at the moment, really, is it? I suppose the next sort of resistance area is around the middle line, isn't it? Looking long, but too stacked. Yeah, it is though. Okay, so it's made it back to the EMA. Do we think it's going to move back into here? I don't think it will. Holding myself back from chasing, yeah. A little bit of a shakeout. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work its way back up to here. I think we're going to get another push down. It's sort of, I mean, if you look at that, it's sort of two legs up, isn't it? Look at that. I'm tempted to take it there, I am. I'm tempted to take a short there. I know if you forget this, it's sort of two pushes up. But I think it's riskier. The way it is stacking a bit, but you know, if that little bit's rangy, yeah, well, I've blown that out of the water, isn't it? Back to the overnight highs, which I think we agreed was here, wasn't it? Yeah. So they're around about here, aren't they? So there's our overnight highs. Captain Kirk's one of the old and bold. The beeline trade. I'll put that in the manual. See, at the moment, I'm still thinking down at the moment, but I might be wrong. I'll look at the 10,000 tick chart. We've pushed below the EMA there, pushed back up strongly, below the EMA, back up strongly, a little bit sideways. We've come up to the EMA now, so we're going to either come down or go up, aren't we? Doesn't really tell us much. We're certainly retesting this area. That's ages, Alice. And we all come out strong, don't we? In my opinion, it's very bearish. Clearly out weak shorts. Yeah. We've had this push down, haven't we? Yeah, we're breaking a new low. Bounced off here. Seem to retest this. This is a failed breakout of this top little area. It's looking pretty bearish, isn't it? It's hard to tell, really, isn't it? It's still a little bit choppy and a bit sidewaysy. I got to say, I always tend to get. I think I'm always a little bit more successful in the first 2 to 3 hours, and I suppose after a while you get an idea of where, where your comfort zone is, because obviously you sit there too long. Sometimes your patience can go a bit, and we all want to try and make money, don't we? So I tend to like that sort of 2 to 4 hour mark. We've done a couple of these streams at 4 hours, and I think the rest have been around about the 2.5. And that seems to be a sort of a nice area, nice time frame to trade. But sometimes I've traded later on when I worked a different job. I used to come home and trade in the evenings, which is sort of late afternoon in the US, and I used to get some nice trades. So I certainly seem to get the majority of my trades earlier on in the day. Okay, if we can get through the EMA and find something, I'm still thinking down. Magic isn't reading and getting a feel for the bigger picture, not just the small swings. Yeah, bigger picture, the bigger context of the day is important, isn't it? I'm still thinking that we're going down at the moment, from what I can see. What do I do for a living? Well, I was a chef for about the first 12 years of my life. And then I had a small business. And around about 2008, we had the credit crunch. And I was a bit stuck for what to do. So I had a friend of mine who just come out the military. And he said they're screaming out for HGV drivers at the time. So I did that for a while, and I've just recently gone back to it 12 months ago because they were screaming out for it, so it can work around my trading. So that's what I do. I drive Arctics Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Good thing is the money's pretty good, and you can pick and choose your hours, so it enables me to trade 3 days in the week. I'm hoping we can get some sort of a higher low here to push us down to the bottom. We seem to be at this little bit of sideways area, don't we? Or are we making 2 pushes up? It's hard to say, isn't it? Looks like we're coming to retest this area again. I agree with Dan. Yeah, it seems to give them that impression, doesn't it? But yeah, who knows? You can just got to make your best educated guess, haven't you? And hopefully wait for a setup in the direction you think it's going. I mean, we have days, don't we, where it's really nice and clear, isn't it? And you just seem to get one, 3 lovely trades in a row, and everything's clear. And then you get a spate of days where it's just, some days it's been, I don't know, was it last week? It was just hard. Market was bouncing. It was a bit of a range, but every time it went up, it was in a different spot. Every when it went down, it was in a different spot. It was just bouncing all over the place and so hard to read. And the trouble is, it's easy to get sucked into bad trades, and I've been guilty of that myself plenty of times. So we've had this channel break, new high. But I think this, didn't we say that was the overnight highs, wasn't it? Seems to be playing a part. But you never know, do you? Could end up doing something like that, couldn't it? It's starting to look a bit bullish, isn't it? I wonder if this sort of channel is sort of valid and we're working our way up to retest these tops. It's certainly looking that way, isn't it? Possible measured, yeah. See if this channel is valid. It could break out and then make a new high up here. just get that out of the way a minute. Oh, where was it? About here, wasn't it? I'm just going to get rid of that overall trend out the way a minute. So if you look on the 10,000 tick chart, if I can get it around, struggling, the EMA's gone flat and it seems to be struggling to get over, which is giving me that impression that maybe we are now moving down. I don't think there's nothing up here that I don't think that looks right, but so it moves up here with a break, 2 pushes up to a new high, so maybe we're coming to here, maybe that was a bigger range and we're coming higher up here somewhere. For me, bud, yeah, I'm working tomorrow, although I haven't had a start time yet, so we usually had one by now, so I think so, and then I'm going to be back Tuesday, possibly Monday. So, and it's 7 days now, isn't it? So it's 7 days, it's 6 days today, and I'm about $455 short of my 3,000 for the evaluation. So there's a trade in a bit there, I think. Which will probably be then on Tuesday, I'm guessing. Possibly Monday, depends, because it's a little bit quiet this time of year for us. Well, the lead up to Christmas, and then it picks up a lot then. Okay, this downtrend I've drawn, it is touching here and here. I think that might be luck, because it doesn't scream at me it's right, but it's a possibility. I think the way it's just finished there is luck, but it's been a pretty good evaluation. This is day 6 today. We've had 6 green days in a row, so that's all positive. So then I'm guessing next week, maybe Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, start on the PA account. I'm not probably going to get many more days left before Christmas. I think the institutional traders usually finish up. I'm easily shut down. I know last year I was trying to trade a bit last year, but it wasn't easy. So I think Mac reckoned the best thing to do would be to pack up for the 2 weeks over Christmas. So then it's probably going to be, I don't know, maybe 5 days total for me trading this side of the year on the PA account, on the PA account, and then after Christmas. But it'd be lovely to go into Christmas with a PA account and maybe a few days trading with some green days. We'll see. In fact, I actually bottled a couple of trades and made a bit of a mistake, in which case we would have hit the 3,000 by now, but I've got to learn to trust my trades. Yeah, it's stalling a bit sideways there, isn't it? So I think people are thinking, okay, what are we doing? Overnight highs area, isn't it? I'm calling it a day. Yeah, no problem, mate. I appreciate you looking up with me, mate. You know, I'm doing this to help my trading, so you know, we have a nice little chat and run some ideas by each other, and it helps us all. So nice to have you hooking up with us again, mate. So I'll see you Tuesday, possibly Monday. Take it easy, mate. Take it easy. Ready for a short if there's a setup. Yeah, see, things are moving up at the moment, aren't they? So I'll be a bit worried about going short. So many times I counter trending and I just, yeah. See, at the moment, as we're pointing upwards, it's hard to think about going short, isn't it? Although I think we may be working our way down, but I don't know. It keeps getting higher and higher, doesn't it? We've broken the overnight highs. So, I don't know, who knows? Maybe this was a bigger overall trend and we've had a break of it. And we're working our way up to a new high. So, I don't know, it's not very clear at the moment, really, is it? I do not like to look at the trend channel midlines. I find they help from drawing channels. Oh, here. Is that what you mean? From drawing channels. Yeah, I think that one was I just stuffed it there. It just, the way I drew that looked like it might fit on the 10,000 tick chart, so I thought that may give us an indication of possibly a way down, but it's what did we draw this? Who mentioned this? Was that you, Osam, was it? Did you mention this for the slope channels? You think there might be some in here? I did have something like that, but I took it away, didn't I? Does look like we're working. Perhaps it was an overall trend for the overall day, and perhaps we are working up to these highs. Yes, if I quickly bring in the 10,000 tick chart now, we've got quite a clear channel, really, haven't we? We did say this was a bit of an overshoot. We've got quite a clear channel there. I don't know if it works. Oh, it does. There we go. Yeah, that's the 10,000 tick chart. That looks all right, doesn't it? And if we were to go by that, we would be going up from here. So perhaps we are going up to test these, to the highs, make a new high. Okay, we pushed up here, so if we come back to this line here, so we got that line there, so we got first entry, second entry, possible failure, no real room to the highs though. I'm not 100% confident we're going up here, not confident enough to take a trade, especially with not much a distance to go. Not as close to the EMA as I like it. A little bit congested. I suppose people are thinking, what are we doing? Are we going up? Are we coming down? Which is maybe why we're getting this little bit of sideways. It's definitely slowing down. Let's see how the EMA is coming out to the bottom of your channel. Here, yeah, feathering out. I paid attention to that in the past. It's a possible indicator of price action if I watch the EMA against the channel, not just something I've noticed. Yeah. Just wonder if it's coming out as well because it's slowing down. Does that mean it's, starting to, I know it's struggling to get above here, isn't it? Does that mean it's going to move momentum? That's what you mean, yeah. Just hard to tell, isn't it? Yeah, it's coming out, isn't it? Because it's not having a stronger push up. So it's struggling, isn't it? This channel here, you mean, yeah? You mean like this? Something along there, those lines. Yeah, it's gone flat, isn't it? There's no one trading at the moment, really, is it? It's slow. Yeah, it does seem that way. Especially if this is pushing down some more, it's going to flatten it even more, isn't it? So maybe get something like this and then down, maybe. The good thing is, the interesting thing is, it's times like this trying to work out what it's going to do. We've all got ideas, but this really is the best time to just sit back and observe, isn't it? And see what we can learn from it. And stay away from trades, really. But you're right, yeah, that EMA's flattening out along the bottom of that channel, isn't it? Is that the overnight high? That was the overnight high, isn't it? Yeah, near enough. So we're thinking it's going to do something like this. It's a good test of patience, this, isn't it? And when you do sit there nice and patient and leave alone, it does make you feel good, doesn't it? It makes you feel like you're finally following the rules. Because there's plenty of times no one really knows, even the best traders. I mean, if you can just look how much fluid's going through it now, which is not a lot. So it just goes to show, some of the best traders that trade these markets aren't really sure what they're what's going to happen. Which is why we've printed off about 5 candles in the last 5 minutes. Screen time with no trades is the best way. Absolutely, I've always said this. You can learn such a lot just by watching people and watching things, just observing. That's how we do the majority of our learning in life, isn't it? You want to learn how to build a wall, you watch someone do it and you keep watching them and you pick up ideas and then you go yourself. Absolutely. Mac always says, doesn't he, screen time, that's the key. Absolutely. You start to know things and you notice these patterns and where these changes happen, and then it starts to build up your overall understanding and picture of the market. Absolutely, yeah. Once it's happened. See, that is a second entry short, isn't it? But it doesn't look like it's going to end up bullish, does it? I think a few of us thought it's looking like it's upwards momentum is slackening off, and it may just tank, mightn't it? When we do have these trends, we usually have a break and then a new high, but I don't know how confident I am going into this. It is looking like it may end up. Oh God, that's tempting, isn't it? Very tempting to go long there and ride it to the highs. It's probably going to do it, but I don't like the way the EMA is perfectly flat. So it's much better to leave it alone. It's probably going to get up here. That's where I like it, nice and tight above it. It's likely going to get up, but that momentum is slowing, isn't it? So I think it's riskier. I wouldn't be shocked if you got stopped out on this. new swing low before the second entry short. Yeah. See, that could be a failure as well, couldn't it? Short. Try to go like once, try to go twice, fails. Down here, we sort of think it's going that way, don't we? But we'll see what happens if it breaks below this bar, because I dare say there's going to be some longs in there. And if it does break below this bar, it's likely to drop, isn't it? Yeah, it looks like it's going to reach. Ordinarily I would have taken a trade like that, but I don't like the way the EMA is perfectly flat and it's losing momentum. You barely got out. Yeah, I think it was a valid trade. I didn't like it because the EMA is going flat and it has been struggling to get up there. But when we have a break, the rule is we have a new high, don't we? Or mostly we have a new high, but because its momentum struggled so much here, I didn't have the confidence to be able to ride that up here. Four points, isn't there, from if you 3.5 points if you take it from here to the top. Yeah, see, I have mine set to 3.5 points. That's what I'd have usually taken. That's about there, isn't it? Yeah, see, if I'd have took that trade, I'd have had my thing up here, and I'd have just physically shit myself now. Look, it's going to get stopped out, that for sure, isn't it? And that's going to cause some momentum, because there's bound to be some longs in there. I think now we're moving down. We might get a little bit of retest here, but I think down's where we're going now. Just trying to see if there is any possible overall downtrend there. I don't think there is at the moment. You scalped out. Yeah, I don't blame you, mate. Yeah, see what I mean? It didn't push up for a new high, does it? I doubt very much it's going to make another attempt now. But the EMA's flat. If the EMA was like that, then I'd have had a go at that. Yeah, failed second entry trap. Yeah. So the thing is about a trap, a lot of traders still trade just one point, which they'd have got, wouldn't they? But obviously, I suppose a lot of them will be trying to get up to these highs, which obviously they didn't. I thought there'd be a few more longs in there. I thought that would push down a little bit quicker, but I think maybe some of the longs held back because the EMA's gone flat. But it looks like it might come back up here a little bit, and then off it'll go then. Yes, you get some days like that, don't I? I've spoke to Mac in the past about that, different charts, and you know, some days I'll watch other people and our charts will be almost identical, and then other days I'm thinking I have to keep looking and thinking, are we both on a 2000 tick chart because it looks so different? But yeah, you get days like that, don't you? All Mac's ever told me in every question I've ever seen, you know, on his frequently asked questions, just trade your chart as you see it. See, that's a tempting trade for me. Trouble is, trying to go on a monster, I go twice. It's like a third entry. It was still a little bit sideways for me. If that was a failure, got a bit tighter and a bit lower, I'd say there's a fair chance we're coming down, but you wish you had $1 million to trade. Captain Kirk has, by the sounds of things, isn't he? Yeah, it's tempting, that. It's tempting. Trouble is, sometimes when we have these breaks, we had to break a new high, but sometimes we'll have 2 pushes down and then an attempt. And that, as you get 2 pushes down, it tends to get a little bit more momentum. So, but it's a bit choppy for me. There isn't really, is there? As sort of tempting as that one is. It's stalling, isn't it? It doesn't inspire confidence, does it, to go short? I mean, I suppose a few of us are thinking we're going down, aren't we? And that, relatively okay bar, but it's just the way it's stalling there. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if we do come up here now. Sometimes when they break, like I said a minute ago, you get 2 pushes down, which tend to give it a little bit more momentum then, but who knows? That might just trap some people. This could be our new high then. We might get a push up. Shorts just got wrecked. Let's see if there is anything here. Okay, I think it's fair to say now that we may break this high here. Sometimes when you have 2 pushes down, it then gives it a little bit of momentum. Ivan. You're a new face. Weird day to trade. Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? It has gone slow all of a sudden, isn't it? And some stops before heading up. Trouble is, wasn't really anywhere good to go short. I think this is just a bit of a pullback. My money's on we're going up here. I don't think so. Excuse me a second, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break. Wait a minute. Okay. Sorry about that. I just kept hearing some tapping on the door. Tap, tap, tap. I thought it was the dog's tail. It was my daughter been tapping there for the last 10 minutes. Can I have a shower? If it fails here, it fails hard. And it's triple test at the overnight highs. I'd still say we're going to maybe hit this, I think. We've had a break of this. Yeah, it's a good enough channel. I think we've had a break of it. 2 legs down. That wasn't enough. 2 legs down. Seem to be pushing up here, which would give me the indication we're going to make a new extreme from this. I'm not. I still think there's a possibility we may break the highs of the day. Let me see if we can. See, that's a bit of an overshoot there, isn't it? So that doesn't look terrible, does it? It doesn't look terrible. Channel break, new high, possibly pushing higher. Oh, that could be a spike in channel. Let's have a look at that. That might be a bit better. Let's have a look. That could be a spike in channel. Doesn't look terrible. Spike. Touched here, touched here, touched here. Maybe a little overshooter there. It's touched here, nice. Touch there, nice. Touch there, nice. That doesn't look terrible. I think we've certainly had a sort of upward bias, haven't we? Let's have a look at what's going on now. There is possibly a long at 39.60. A long here. Or now. You're about here, are you? Yeah, it's just not clear at the moment, is it? We could be slowly working down this channel. This uptrend could be valid, and we could be working up. After the break, 2 pushes down, we could be making a new high. It's just hard to. It's hard to. There's obviously not a liquidity going through at the moment, which is why it's slow. Because obviously people are a little bit unclear, or never. You got a good balance of positivity and negativity at the same time. I'm just glad I had some profit at the beginning of the day, because there's not been nothing for a while, has there? Where are we now? What time is bordered on? The best part of 4 hours. It's just slowing down, isn't it? See if I could bring down the 10,000 tick chart. We set a spike and channel on that one, didn't we? Why isn't that working? It's a different. Oh, bollocks, get up there. This is not your normal. Can't make this work. Okay. We've sort of had an uptrend, haven't we, for the day? And these sort of leaps and bounds, but it is sort of giving me the impression that we're running out of steam. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to call it there for the day. Market's gone really stagnant, isn't it? We've been here nearly 4 hours now. Yeah, we do seem to be leapfrogging, don't we? But we've had this break, haven't we? Couldn't get up there once, couldn't get up there twice. Does seem to be failing. Maybe it'll come down to here and push higher, or maybe it'll tank. Who knows? Yeah. To be fair, I feel pretty good, mate. I had a good $600 trade. Within the first 10 minutes, 12 minutes of the market open, so I'm happy. I've had a good day. Bias is definitely up, isn't it, in one form or another? But I think we've done 4 hours now. I think I'm going to call it a day. So that's 6 days for me. Is that 6 days? 6 days. We're on $2,500. So hopefully another good day, and I'll hit my 3,000 evaluation target, and then we move on to a PA account. So we've had 6 nice green days in a row, so I'm pretty pleased with that. Any green day is a good day. Touching this again, any good day is a good day. So yeah, nice to see you, Brad. That's it. Yeah, not seen you before. I'm only streaming literally to help my trading. I've been struggling for a while, and the way I see it is if people are watching me, I'm less likely to do something stupid. So I don't sort of proclaim to be a guru or know what I'm doing. I've been doing it a couple of years, just like a lot of you. So there you go. So I'll be back here on Tuesday, possibly Monday, but I usually put a link on the Facebook channel. Cheers, Brad. Yeah, Nice to see you guys here. I hope you've all had a bit of green today. So have a great weekend. Get out and do your Christmas shopping. Stay safe. Have a good one, and I'll see you all on Tuesday / possibly Monday. Absolutely. Yeah, Brad just said nice idea, toss idea. Yeah, it is, absolutely. More reds are better than one, aren't they? So we're all in the same boat, aren't we? Trying to hit it rich, have an amazing life. But yeah, all good. So have a great weekend.